Edge AM interview with Jordan Maxwell, he says things like, Moses worshipped the moon god? Are you for real?
Oh, yeah, man.
How does he defend this guy? This guy is no friend of Christianity at all.
I know he says all of Judaism is a complete lie, and all the world's problems are because of Judaism. I mean, he says that Yahweh means sexual release and basically, he goes on and on, man. The guy, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because after you said that, Matt Kazee stated that it made him think of the Big Bang. Well, that's
what Maxwell says.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't quoting Maxwell when he said that. It just confused me. This didn't sound like a Christian speaking, and I'm referring to Kazee.
Well,
I don't know. Like I said, maybe I missed something, but I was really disappointed that I didn't hear the show live because I really wanted to call in and say something.
Right. Well, I think that I had some dealings with Matt before that show and about the week before, so I had a chance to really get down and really kind of see what he was about. And I really do think that I don't know. What happened was a lot of that had to do with he did the documentary with Maxwell, and he went out to L.A. and actually stayed with Maxwell in his house, and really Maxwell apparently was just in a really poor state of events, with really run down, no money, people couldn't do anything, government after him and the rest of it or whatever. And basically it seemed like Matt probably put a lot of money and effort and time and energy. So honestly, I saw him as probably a guy who, really is a Christian. He said, and he actually voiced a lot of those concerns about being a Christian to Maxwell, and Maxwell, of course, knowing that he was talking to Christian, had just the right answer, which he's been probably saying to every Christian that asked him those questions for the last 40 years when he actually was confronted with it, which I think is exactly what happened on the Bill Cooper program when all of a sudden, oh, yeah, he just turns like a switch. I mean, he's just like, oh. Then he admits it's all mystery school and everything else. So I think that he kind of played that end of things with Kazee, in addition to the fact that that probably Matt had a lot, basically emotionally invested in Maxwell not being a total fraud.
Well, I'm glad you challenged him a lot because Daniel Ott, when he interviewed Jordan Maxwell, didn't challenge anything. So that was refreshing. Oh, by the way, just on a side note before I get off, have you explained to Matt Kazee the significance of latitude 33?
I thought about it. I did think about that, but I just figured, we got a lot going on, so we'll just leave it leave it there.
All right. Well, look, guys, thanks a lot. Love both your shows. All my neighbors listen to you all now. Keep it up. Really, you guys are making a difference. All right.
Right on, man. Thanks
a
lot.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Frank. Bye.
Right on.
Take care.
That guy rocked.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a couple of other Revelations Radio Network hosts in here, and if they want, they should call up, and we'll turn them on. Ziggy's here, Mark's here.
Yeah, if you want, we can use Skype to do that. It's kind of a little tricky. It's not that tricky. You just dial the number with Skype, and then it'll prompt you to enter the rest of the whatever caller ID and your PIN number. But then you just got to go back and hit the window where it allows you to punch numbers again in the middle of the call. If that wasn't confusing enough, then all right. But anyway,
I want to just mention again, in case anyone hasn't heard my last show, the feed is messed up again on Podango. There are shows missing. I'm not sure if they fixed it between when I last checked and now, but they told me they were going to email me when it's fixed. I think at least one of Ziggy's shows is missing. There's some Smart Fade shows, Chris's last show. So, if you're not seeing these shows updating, definitely go and, seek out their feeds and download them from there, directly from like the Nowhere to Run feed or the Smart Fade feed or whatever. That's what I want to say about that.
Yeah, and another thing about, just to continue with the Matt Kazee thing, I think that part of that was he, I think, like a lot of people, are pretty new in this whole, in this whole thing. And I mean, that's all, if you really think about it, that's kind of all the mainstream waking up it has to offer is your Jordan Maxwell's and Michael Tsarians, and it's by design, make no mistake. So if somebody's only a year or two into this, they've got a lot of baggage to shed. And so I think that's where I think to be where Matt is, and which is, he basically woke up, as far as I understand it, with the Virginia Tech shooting, because he lived in Blacksburg, Virginia, and everything just kind of came like a ton of bricks to him. So it's only been a year, basically, of the guy woken up, and here he is. He's the guy that confronted Bill Clinton on the in the YouTube, the We Are Change thing, and so he's got a radio and a website. He's really doing some good. He just, like I said, there's a lot of baggage to shed, because there's so much esoteric stuff in this truth movement.
Yeah, and it's like you said, all by design, because as you come out of that shell, like as you start getting the truth, you're getting lies about Christianity, and it's meant to reveal to you all of the evil in the world and the quote-unquote matrix you're living in, and to just lump your Christian faith in with that. So yeah, they're saying a lot of things that make sense. They're talking about some things that are true. And at the same time, if you're not rooted, in your faith, and you don't actually know the Word of God, then that's going to come crashing down with it too, because you're not really I look at it like this. When I had a dog, he would never eat his pills. So we always had to wrap the pill in a piece of cheese, because he liked cheese. So, they give you the truth, and it's like the cheese, and what they're actually giving you is this spiritual poison, and that's the pill. It's just one of these, here, sucker, swallow this. And I don't know, Matt seemed like a really sincere guy. He seemed like a really nice guy. So, I don't want to rip on him, but yeah, how I agree 120% with everything that you said.
Right, and it is. Again, it's like this whole waking up thing is like it's a drug in itself. Part of the carrot that they offer to people is this natural tendency for us to there's these moments in everybody's time when they first figure all this stuff out, that they are essentially addicted to finding out more. And then you get this idea that it's some kind of secret that you it's kind of unravel, and you're looking at all this hermetic, drawings and stuff, and the more esoteric looking and the more detailed they are, the more you're like, yes, here is the truth somewhere in this. I don't understand it because it's too above my head right now, but if I just really, really put my nose to the grindstone and find more avenues to learn about, more of this, and it's just it's playing on that human thing. I think we all got. Anyway, I guess you want to take another caller?
Is someone up?
Yep.
Yeah, Andy. All right, let me click you on here. 1 second. You there, Andy?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I've been listening to you guys for a long time, Frank. At least as long as you started with the original Pike podcast there a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I tell you what, I have to say I really appreciate all that you've done with the Salvation Revelation and the Revelations network there. I'll tell you what, I listen to it all the time, and then Chris with your podcast and everybody else who's linked up. It's really made a difference, and I just really appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks a lot, man.
Oh, no problem. One of the things, Frank, you talked about a long time ago, and I think it was back when you were doing some podcasts about just in music, but it was some time ago, maybe in the 40s or 30s or 40s, and the numbers. You talked about kind of getting the word out through pamphlets and CDs and all that type of stuff, and then that kind of died off. I was wondering if you ever kind of thinking of getting back into that type of stuff.
Yeah. I guess I mentioned that to Chris not too long ago. Really, time-wise, I'm kind of strained, and I would appreciate any help that anyone else could give, but I've registered another domain. I'm not going to give it out now because it's just a blank domain, but I'm really hoping to, at minimum, put together some kind of a PDF file with as much stuff as we can in it. People can, that way they can email it, print it, whatever.
Right.
And it's something that I really want to do, but I just don't necessarily feel like I can do it all on my own.
Oh, I hear you.
I think that's such an amazing tool of waking people up. I've just now, when I first started on my shows, I used to talk a lot about burning DVDs and all kinds of different ways to get DVDs out to people and stuff. And I just got, involved in different things or whatever, but I just recently got back to it just because every time I'm in the grocery store and see somebody with Diet Cokes, I'm like, man, where are those Sweet Misery DVDs, Because you could save a life so easy, like here, And then I always would pray before I would go into, like, if I were on my way into a supermarket or something, to just lead me to somebody that would need it, and I'd have these vaccine CDs on me, and I would see it, a new mother with her brand new baby, and who's gonna? If you give them a DVD about vaccines and tell them something they were not going to tell you on the news, there you've probably just saved a little kid's life.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the pamphlets thing too. I think people could really do a lot of good with that.
Oh yeah, like Chris, you just said how sometimes you're led to these people. In my line of work, I work in a hospital. I meet different people all day long. And I'll tell you what, it is the oddest thing, the number of people that I get talking to, because I'm have to talk with them at least 30, 40 minutes at a time. And I don't try to force any topics on them, but I would say 40, 50% of the time our topics drift towards the things that you guys talk about here. And I'll tell you, it is they know maybe 10, 20% of the things that you guys talk about, but then sometimes I wish I could just kind of run to the internet and print them out a quick, check this out type of thing and go, check this out. And I always point them towards your guys or websites and just say, go check these guys out, because, I didn't know anything a long time ago, and I still don't, but I felt like I've learned a lot since I started to pay attention to you guys.
Right. Thanks, man. One thing, I've really, really found out how hard it is to try to synopsize some of the things, even the simple things like fluoride or something like that. Like when I did the conspiracy clothes thing, I was just trying to think of what are the 5 things, if I could just have 5 sentences that I wanted to say about fluoride, and then doing the research and trying to see what I could say and what I could prove and everything. Same thing with 9/11. 11 things. What 11 things? And trying to synopsize something that intense into that kind of thing, or in this case, like just a flyer that you could put on somebody's windshield, or go into Walmart and just put the whole thing. Think about all the things that we need to tell people to wake them up. You got to start, if you're starting from 0 to going to 0 to 100 here, you'd fill up an entire 8x10 sheet back and forwards and of small print, and you still wouldn't have enough. But right. So it's really the decisions of what it is that's most important. I think that's an individual thing, because everybody has their own thing, that they really feel a burden for, I think, more. Right. And you don't, like Alex Jones says, a lot of times if anybody has that thing, I think that's a really good way to do it. And don't wait for orders from headquarters. What does he say? Because you can just do that at your computer, print out just something, but that takes some serious gumption, because to get out there and start doing that kind of thing. But right. I think a lot of people, I'm over talking here, but I think a lot of people got started with the whole idea with the Ron Paul thing, as I like the saying that Dr. Paul cured my apathy, because a lot of people just realize, like, hey, I just went out there and did something and campaigned or did something like that. And I think in that way, Ron Paul has awoken a spirit of something in people, and hopefully we're going to make the most of it. Right.
I think so many times if I could just go around the church parking lots and put a few things on some people's on their windshields when they're at mass or at service, and they come out to their car and they grab it and they look at it on the way home, and even if they just logged on when they got home, I can't believe I keep thinking the number of people that maybe would wake up or have a different opinion,
Well, Eddie, you're right, because like the things that you would probably put on there would be have such a ring of truth to it. You couldn't just dismiss it. It's not like a car wash coupon. It's like what is this? It's like nothing they've seen. It's like a message from some other time and place, and it'll just ring true to people, I think. So because a lot of this stuff, even as crazy as we sometimes think it must sound, it also is something that subconsciously I think people understand truth when they hear it, and I think that's kind of what we do is all about. Hopefully.